This is part 4 of my rustic cabinet makeover. It may be a pre-1850 antique. Previously, on Flipping Out on Sunny Days with Dawn, Sunny Days was in a quandary, trying to figure out how old her rustic cabinet was. What was she gonna do? Somehow, someone had placed what might be the answer to her problems on her refrigerator. This led to her hiring the detective Stormy Days, who I think should be named Stormy Nights. In the dark of night, in the rain, she goes to Sunny Days' workshop to deliver the clues. Now let's pick up where the last episode left off. All right. Let's see. The water test, which is what we did earlier. I just remembered something. One of the wonderful ladies that I follow that does furniture flipping, her channel is Appaloosa Artisans, I'm not sure how you say that. But I asked her how you could tell the differences of wood because I was trying to figure out how old this is. And I know finding out what type of wood it is will help me know the date range. So she said, I don't know, send me a picture of it. Maybe I could tell. So I did send her a picture, and she said it looks like pine, and it may even be heartwood pine, or also called longleaf pine. And she told me the way to tell the difference is when you get the wood wet. If it stays like a yellow color, then it's still regular pine. But if it turns red, then it's heartwood longleaf pine. So I just thought of that because this is the wet side. This is the dry side. That's red. Isn't it? All right, so let's try it on this side. That's wet. It did change color. Woo! So is this longleaf pine? Heartwood pine was so desirable that it was almost timbered to extinction by 1900. I wiped down the whole cabinet, the inside, the outside, the bottom, the top, and it all turned red. The drawers, the door, it was all red. Now, back to more clues. Squarehead was pre-1800s. Pre-1800s. I'm still a bit confused about the nails. I know they're square heads, which puts them pre-1800, but then it says furniture predating 1790 will include rose head nails identified by their irregular rose-shaped heads. Square head nails were made from the late 1700s until about 1830. So I'm a little confused as to if these are rose head nails or not. So nails that were made by hand before 1790 means that the blacksmith turned the nail and then added a rose head by flattening the top with a hammer. Hand-forged nails usually date a piece of antique furniture to before 1790. So, because I'm not an expert, I'm not sure if these are rose head nails, but to me, they kind of look like it. The color of rust formed. These are stuck together. The color of rust formed when early wrought iron nails corrode or they rust. It leaves a black stain around the nail hole. So, as we saw around the nail holes, there's black stains. Okay, so that means they were made out of wrought iron. after 1885 and later, steel was used to make nails. So we know these are wrought iron nails. And also, if the nails are black, that also lets you know that it was wrought iron. Okay, so the screws. The flathead screwdriver was invented about 1744. Flat spots on the unthreaded portions of the screws, almost always perfectly cylindrical with no taper. Screws that appear handmade and quite individual most likely help date the piece from the early 1700s to the mid to late 1800s. They will also have a slot off center to the head, a less than perfectly circular head that is often off center of the shaft, uneven threads, a blunt tip which often shows the cut marks where the cylinder was cut to size, tool marks on the throat below the head where the soon-to-be screw was held by tongs during the heating process. So I've looked at the screws, I've videoed them, I've taken pictures of them, and they appear to be handmade. The latch style hardware. Alright, here is the hardware that I broke, taking it off, not knowing when I did it. So the latch style hardware, before the 1850s, most furniture latches were hand carved from wood. Now that I'm looking at it, I even think that this latch may have been a replacement because it looks smaller than the wear marks on the door, on the inside of the door and the outside. I'm so sorry that I broke it off. That was before I knew that this was an antique and that it's really, really old. I'm sorry, handle. Different types of wood used. So this is most likely longleaf heart pine. And the sides of the drawer looks like it may be poplar. Perfect symmetry is a sure sign that something was machine made. And as I went through on the videos earlier, this does not have perfect symmetry. Symmetry. Like going around the curves, you can feel that it gets flat. It doesn't stay a solid curve. I can feel it here. And along this edge. And then on the bottom of the drawer, which I videoed earlier, you could tell that it was hand cut or sawed or chiseled to get it to fit in the slit here, to get it to fit to go in here. So I flipped the drawer over and I was cleaning off the underneath side, and even the back is like, this is, how do I explain it? It's grooved out right here, all with the saw to fit in the slot, I guess. The wood components in less obvious areas, the inside, the back, and the bottom, if they were cut using traditional methods like hand saws and planes, and if you see rough surfaces, plane scrapes, tool marks, it's probably pre-1860. So that's what I saw looking at the wood, which I'll put pictures in that show that. Oh, she summed it up with, okay, square nails pre-1885. Wood latch was before 1850. So we know it's pre-1885. It has a wood latch. So it's before 1850. The handmade screws, 1700s to the mid-1800s. So the screws, we know they're handmade. The wood latch is what it's telling me this is pre-1850. Pre-1860 wood components showing hand-sawed planes and rough surfaces, which we do have. So that's pre-1860. Handmade dovetails indicate before 1860. And these are definitely handmade dovetails here on the drawer, which I'll include pictures of that too. So the only thing that I can't really figure out is, oh, and then I have the square nails and the screws. I can't really figure out exactly what date those are. Oh, and also the hardware. The detective didn't include this, but I was researching this myself. The hardware is all hand cut, and as you see, they do not match. The only thing I could find on these was I found some for sale on eBay, and they said circa 1860, I think, and I might have saw some that said 1850. So I do know because of the wood latch that it's before 1850. Now to prove that it's anything else that dates it back later than that, I'm not sure. And I did find about the heart pine, longleaf heart pine. It's not really available today. The only trees that are growing are protected. They don't have a forest of these trees growing that you could just go cut down and use the wood for. It's protected because it was so highly used back in the 1800s, early 1900s, that it was almost didn't exist anymore. So the wood is also in the early 1800s, most likely. And then I was reading, I'll read some more about this to get it right, but the wood takes about 200 years, 200 to 500 years before you get real heart pine wood. So, thank you, Stormy Days Detective Agency. Woohoo! Oh, hello. Is that you, Stormy Days?
I forgot to give you something. The bill. You look just like me.
You look just like me.
And you're wearing my earrings, Sunny Days.
So thank you, Appaloosa Artisan, for helping me try to date how old this is. And thanks to all of you who I watch who do furniture flipping. You've helped me out a lot. So here she sits all sanded and naked. I'm not going to paint her. I'm not going to do the surprise that I got in the mail for her. I may put some polyurethane on her, and that's it.